We'll call the meeting to order. Is anybody videotaping or audio taping? If you please remove your hats if you have the hat on. Only one at all. We'll stand for a few moments of silence and the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the board workshop meeting of 4/2/19. Are there any changes or alterations that need to be made to that?
Are correct as written and approved. May I have a motion to accept? I don't know, Sam. Going by how I work your I'm learning.
It's early, folks. Come on, give us a break. Seeing no changes that need to be noted, they'll stand as written. The minutes of April 9th, approval of the minutes from the limited agenda managers. Testing 1, 2. Are there any changes or alterations that need to be made to those? Seeing none, they'll stand as written. Correspondence. He fixed it.
I'm going home. I have one letter, can you hear me now? Okay. I have one letter of correspondence dated April the 21st, 2019. Dear Board of Directors, I would like to suggest adding a shed-like structure to the clubhouse for the purpose of storing the chairs and round tables. This addition would free up both rooms on the east and west sides of the stage to be used for club activity. I am willing to serve as chairman of a committee to explore this proposal. Sandy Kalischek. All the correspondence I have at this moment.
Thank you. The board will take that under consideration. Reports, general manager's report.
Testing, 1, 2, check. Manager's report for April. A recent question at a board meeting asked why we do not have a pool monitor by the pool at all times. In 2016, we reduced the clubhouse employees on day shift by one person, cross-trained all the employees for pool monitor duties, including checking chemical readings and logging them into the ledger. While all residents are still required to sign in, they are on the honor system. If you are suspended for any reason, you'll be asked politely to leave. Failure to leave will result in additional fines and suspensions. If your actions appear hostile or threatening, we will call the sheriff's office and have them remove you for trespassing. If any member sees somebody who may not be a resident, they can tell any employee directly or call the office at call the monitor station at 596-1112. If you have a smartphone, you can send a photo of the unregistered guest to office@brookridge.com. we can print this for the manager on duty. Purchase orders over $2,000 for April. We have $87,295.10 for Nature Coast flooring for the clubhouse floors. The Brookridge Veterans Wall will be updated with new photos this Memorial Day. Please submit your facts and photos before Friday, May 10th to the front office of the administration. The pool will be closed Monday, May 6th and reopen on or about June 24th. All dates are subject to change. The East End parking lot will be closed for construction vehicles only during this time. The clubhouse main floor replacement is scheduled to begin on Monday, June 3rd and reopen Monday, June 24th. The East End rooms and hallway will begin June 24th and reopen July 15th. Again, all dates are subject to change. Paving will begin once Hernando County Utilities have given us clearance. They have completed their repairs to these roads. The target date is June 3rd. I'm told it may be next week. But our price quote is good until June 28th. That's all I have. Violation report for April is attached. That's it.
Unfinished business, we had one case that was appealed. That appeal was withdrawn. So it clears up the unfinished business. New business, Mr. Sajak.
The topic is AVRC committee appointment. As per SOP 11.2, appeal violation review committee members shall be selected and approved by the board of directors, and the members shall not be a relative of the alleged violator for any AVRC hearings. I make a recommendation to approve new member David W. Fagan. So I make a motion to appoint David W. Fagan to the AVRC committee.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Frank. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Mr. Fagan? He's not here. Will be sworn in at a later date. Unit representative changes. Ms. Nutter.
We are accepting the resignation of unit reps Leslie Haggart and Ricky Saliga. My apologies. They are resigning, and we have two people now that are going to be sworn in. Excuse me. Can I have a motion for the resign?
You make the motion.
I make the motion for resign.
Read what it says on there.
Motion to accept the resignation of the unit reps Leslie Hargett and Ricky Saliga with regret.
I'll second it.
Have a second by Ken. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll presume ready to vote. All those in favor say by aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I'd also like to make a motion to appoint volunteers Barbara Nichols and Margaret Violetti to unit reps.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? I have a second by Ms. Smith. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
They're here.
I saw them there. You want to come up front for me? Right here, that way you can see the camera can see you. Would you raise your right hand with me, please? You solemnly promise and swear that you'll administer the office to which you've been appointed to the best of your ability and judgment, in conformity with the governing documents of Brookridge Community Property Owners Incorporated. that you will, in all your acts, be governed by the principles of honesty, justice, and fair play, and in every manner possible endeavor to promote and safeguard the best interests of the citizens of Brookridge and the welfare of its membership. Do you so swear?
I do.
Put your hand down now. By authority conferred to me, I do proclaim that you are duly appointed as unit reps and officially installed in the office. Thank you. Front sign remodel, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Our topic is the front sign remodel. And would work. The quote received from Oakhurst Signs was $37,669. Proud Pelican was $59,114. McGregor was $30,059. Home Rescue was $26,114. Recommendation to approve the Home Rescue Incorporated to complete the remodel as quoted. My motion is to approve the Home Rescue to remodel the front Brookridge sign as quoted for $17,500 plus permit fees paid from the donations from residents.
I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Frank. Discussion. Honey, make sure that microphone's on. Hold it up good and close for you, please.
Forget it. How much funds have been accumulated so far, as you know of?
Right now, with all the expenditures out, we've got around $17,000 right now.
Okay, has the golfing community ever participated in any donations?
The golf course, I guess they feel, and rightfully so, I guess, was that when they participated in the Welcome Back Festival with the golf tournament and the donations that they made as far as the golfing for the day of the tournament was, I guess they feel their donation to the front sign.
Well, I heard from a couple of residents who are members of the Golf Association that they were asked for specifically for a donation. And their answer was, well, we'll give you, I guess it was something like $2,000 to get us over the hump. And it was stated that their response was, well, we'll loan you the money.
I've not heard that.
You haven't?
No, I've not heard that. That's
Well, I've heard it from several members, so I'm curious. Personally, I think that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah, no, I had one person, not about the golf course, but one person approached me about taking out a loan, and I said, oh, that's fine. How do we pay it back? So, no, we're still getting with some of our vendors that come into Brookridge all the time.
Well, that's sort of a pathetic response from them, but I do know several members who've donated money, and terrific people that belong to the golf club, but there are some questions that I think that's kind of ridiculous response. And I mean, you know, you fix up the sign, people drive by and they see that beautiful thing, they say, gee, let's check it out. What does it do? It brings in more quality of people moving in here, so that's kind of ridiculous. That's pretty pathetic on their part for making, and it is a true statement.
Okay.
You know, have you contacted any vendors for any donations?
That we are in the process of getting a list from Greg about the vendors that come in on a regular basis and contacting them, whether we have to go around to their business or whether we can approach them, you know, when they come into Brookridge. I had vendors that donated to the Derby and Dance party that we had, and I am not going to approach those
Yeah.
vendors again because I felt that they gave their donation at the time they supported our Derby and Dance. So we're going to some of the lawn care people that are in here all the time that do a lot of service. I want to still get with Register Chevrolet because they didn't sponsor a horse for our Derby and Dance, so I want to go to Register Chevrolet. I still want to, the gas station where we purchase all of our gas. I approached them several times about sponsoring a horse for the Derby and Dance, and they never responded. So we give a lot of business to some of these vendors, and so we're in the process of that.
Okay. I don't want to sound like I'm targeting you, I'm not, because you do a very good job with collecting the funds and things like that. But I remember about 5 months ago, there was a discussion about some of the board members contacting the vendors then. Why now, 5 months later, we're going to do it, we're looking into it now? What are we dragging our feet for? I'm just curious.
Tom, I don't think we're dragging our feet. What we're ending up with is just life's getting in the way with some changes and things coming in. The vendors that we are gonna get the list from will be contacted, and we're gonna go to those. Right now, we're roughly about $1,000 short of our goal. We should be
How much?
about $1,000 short. We should be able to raise that very easily with those vendors coming in.
Okay, now when it comes to Register Chevrolet, I know somebody who's a very close friend of Mr. Register. I'll contact that person if it'll help, see if anything transpires. But that's my only comments, and thank you.
Well, thanks, Tom. And I don't want people to feel we've been dragging our feet. I've been working diligently and getting some of the functions over with to see where we stood, and then just getting the time to go around. We did really nice certificate of appreciation to the vendors that sponsored our Derby and Dance party, and we started taking those certificates around yesterday. Jackie McCabe and I took certificates around to the vendors that she helped to sponsor the horses. I still want to see if I can't get some time with Patrona. I've got all the certificates of appreciation ready to go. Yesterday we had them take pictures of us so that with the certificates of appreciation, and they seemed really tickled that they got those. Instead of just sending them a letter thanking them, we did the certificate of appreciation. And so Patrona was helpful. Her and I went around and she was getting people for the expo, and her and I went around together and we got sponsors, and she was very helpful in getting some sponsors to sponsor horses. And so when she's got a little free time that we can get Vince to okay her, we'll take hers around and get pictures, and we'll try to put those pictures in the news and views. So I'm trying not to feel like, I don't want people to feel like I'm dragging my feet. I'm still working, so.
You're not you.
Thank
You're
you.
doing a wonderful job.
Other comments? Seeing none, with a motion on the floor, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Mr. Sajak.
This topic is updating to the rules and regulations, Article 7, change AVRC references. Analysis, update the terminology in the rules and regulations concerning items identified and the fee schedule. The fee schedule says, if the committee, by majority vote, does not approve a proposed fine or suspension, the proposed fine or suspension may not be imposed. Role of the committee is limited to determining whether to confirm or reject a fine suspension levied by the board. A recommendation, change the references from A/VRC to AVRC, which means the Appeal Violation Review Committee, and delete the references that conflict with Florida Statute 720.305, paragraph 2B. Stricken, A/VRC, applied administrative fee may be imposed. Deleted is via A/VRC recommendation and added is with board approval. Stricken, VRC/board imposed fines. No, I'm sorry, VRC. Add board imposed fines. Stricken, VRC may recommend that is stricken. Added, board may impose a reasonable fine not to exceed $100 per violation. In the case of the continuing violation, a reasonable fine on the basis of each day of said continuing violation shall not exceed $1,000. I make a motion to approve the listed changes.
I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? I have a second by Rosemary. Any discussion? Any discussion from the audience? These get to be changes to keep us in line for the Florida statutes. Seeing no discussion, I'll assume you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 100. Next agenda item is the update and rules and regulations, Article 7 fee schedule. Analysis increase the current estoppel fee from $25 to $125. Increase the expedited current estoppel fees from $100 to $200. Recommendation is the estoppel fee is permitted under the Florida statutes to help cover the cost of ownership changes, issuance of documents, and administrative expenses. Increase will go into the budget income to help offset expenses associated with the ownership changes. Proposed motion is to approve the increase to the estoppel changes as listed.
I'll second it.
I'll second by Ken. Any discussion? Come up to the microphone and name and unit number, please.
Gail Metcalf, Unit 6. For the sake of the people here and the ones on TV, can you just explain estoppel fees?
The estoppel fees are the fees that are charged for processing documents associated with the purchase of a new home. Ray, and you want to add into that?
No, I don't think so. Estoppel certificates is I believe it's a Greek word that means stop. And the process is when we're changing title to an ownership, the title company or an attorney, a title attorney, would contact any homeowners association, condo association, and find out if there's any underlying liens or outstanding charges on the property, that it could be presented to the owner, and it's a legally binding document for 30 days. So if we have property that somebody is out there trying to sell, and they're going to do a quick claim deed, and they go out and do a quick claim deed between two individuals without using an attorney or a title search, they come into Brookridge and say, okay, I own this house. We're going to turn around and say, well, you owe $5,000 in back assessments and liens. They say, what? well, you didn't go through an attorney, so it's a binding document in the state of Florida laws, and the laws permit us to charge a fee for this document, which binds us to it. It just came up last week. We have an estoppel out on a property, and it turns out it was the property that was damaged over on Midfield. So there's a new buyer coming in. Our Public Works Department went out there and was preparing to clean up the debris and charge the property. But because I'm under contract with an estoppel fee, I can't charge any more assessments to that property. So we just put all the debris back on the in the carport for that property owner and contacted the caregiver of that property to let him know that it's there and it happened this weekend. So it's a binding document.
Get your question answered?
Thank you, yes.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, with the motion on the floor, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Rules and regulation, add replacement fee. Update the rules and regulations, Article 7, fee schedule. Update the rules and regulations fee schedule for barcodes to conform to the current practice and approve charging for requests for documents once the owner has been issued a preset at new member orientation. Recommendation is to remove 3-month references and replace it with a new 30-day reference. Remove the fee due at application and due at application. Add replacement copies, 10 cents per page, for governing documents once a member has received a free and complete set orientation. Motion is to approve these changes to the rules and regulations fee schedule. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
I have a second by Frank. Discussion. Any discussion from the audience? This brings it up, the writing up to current practice by Brookridge as it stands. Seeing no questions or comments, presume the board is ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Violations and appeals, Mr. Sajak.
Let the record reflect the following paragraphs will be inserted into the appropriate AVRC case decisions when noted and herein after references paragraph A or paragraph B. Paragraph A, the fine and or suspension of privileges imposed will continue until compliance is met. It is the violator's responsibility to notify the code enforcement officer if compliance is met. Upon verification of compliance, any fines or suspension of privileges after the initial suspension is served will cease upon payment of outstanding fines and or administrative fees. Paragraph B, all action, punitive or otherwise, decided by the BCPO Board of Directors will go into effect immediately upon all reoccurrences of this violation 12 months into the future. If a reoccurrence happens, fines and suspension of privileges will be imposed immediately until compliance is met in accordance with BCPO Rules and Regulations, Article 12, Section 3, Section 6. Case number 7808. Address 14318 Rialto Avenue. This person was asked to present his poll pass during the sign he used profanity, yelled at employee, and walked away. I recommend penalty of $100 per occurrence and suspension day of 60 days. Paragraph B applies.
I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Ms. Smith. Any discussion?
This is repeal. Is the person here?
Mr. Bentley here. Scott?
Who made the motion? Seconded.
Seeing Being no discussion, I'll presume we're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Case number 7738, 9414 Scepter Avenue, Lexus RX 350, Florida tag 8831JH, traveling 36 miles per hour on Brookridge Boulevard on 4/21/19. A recommended penalty is $50 per occurrence and suspension of 30 days. Paragraph B applies.
Have a motion, we have a second by Rosemary. Is Ms. Weston here?
Yes, she is.
To the podium.
Want to come up to the podium? Hold that mic right up in front of you, otherwise we'll never be able to hear you.
Oh, I got big now.
Nah.
Everybody can hear me.
Name and unit number.
Four. Okay. Name and unit number, what was that?
Name is Laura Weston, Unit 4. I'm appealing the speeding ticket because, while I don't approve of speeding at all. I take care of a lady that was in a wheelchair for 20 years due to a car accident. I had eye surgery, and my granddaughter was driving me over to my brother's for Easter dinner. Once I realized she was cruising a little bit too much, I couldn't see the speed thing in my eye. But once I realized it, we'd already went by the security guard, and I said something to her. So my thing is, why am I responsible for somebody else, first off? And am I responsible for vendors as well?
To answer your second question first, no, you're not responsible for the vendors. We'll approach those vendors and they can be suspended.
Okay.
Everybody that lives in Brookridge is responsible for themselves and any guests that they have at their home, that everybody follows the same speed restrictions and rules that are set up.
Okay. And I totally agree with that. However, I don't understand why I should be responsible for somebody else's foot, because I have a heavy foot, and I set my speedometer, so that I do the right speed, but I just don't agree with being responsible for another person's heavy foot. I'm not denying that she didn't speed, because she did, but I did correct her about it, and I just don't feel like I should be responsible for another foot. I have enough responsibilities for me and my patient and my mother, So,
We appreciate you correcting her, but as we all sign when we first move in here, the documents we sign indicate that we will follow deed restrictions, and those specify specifically that we are responsible for our guests and visitors that come in, and any altercations that they have fall back on us. And in this case, it falls back in the form of a fine. Some communities, just a quick example, out in Timber Pines, if I went in there and sped, and they caught me speeding, they don't pick on me. They do pick on my homeowner, and my friend there, Steve, wouldn't appreciate it because he loses his golfing privileges. He doesn't just get fined, he loses his golfing privileges. But deed restrictions state that we are responsible for ourselves and our guests, no matter who they are. If they come in, if you invite somebody in to purchase something and you've listed it on Craigslist and they come to your home to get it, if they've spent, they've indicated that they're coming to your home, you're responsible for them.
okay, so what about a warning? There's no warnings issued either?
The warnings are given out in the form of the documents that we receive that tell us if we speed, we're gonna pay a price.
Okay.
If we don't power wash our homes, we're gonna pay a price.
And I agree with that, but I really don't agree with the driving thing, because I just feel it's unfair to charge another person for somebody else's heavy foot. Because even if I tell them, don't speed, because this is gonna cost me and I'm gonna lose privileges, I still have no control over that person. I can ask them to not come back if they're gonna continue to speed, but I just don't feel it's right that I should have to cover that, for somebody else. So that's my point that I'm making today.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
Seeing none, I'll presume that you're ready to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Reporting directors, now I'll start on my left-hand end down with Ms. Nutter.
I'm okay today. I don't have any questions.
I don't have anything to report today.
The only thing I've got going right now, other than the singles group, is our front sign. And I think I gave enough of what's going on with that. Now that we've got our contractor approved, we'll get with the contractor. And you'll probably start seeing some actions taking place. We'll get with them, find out when they can start, and we'll go from there. And I will start diligently getting with our vendors, and we'll get that, we'll get as many of them to donate as we can, because if we end up getting more than what we need for the sign, which I'm hoping for, we will use it for the landscaping around the base of the sign. Now, I don't know that we'll be able to get a landscape company to come in, don't know what that cost would be, so we might have to just get with our beautification committee, and maybe they can get with, Canterbury. I was drawing a blank on the, where we get a lot of our plants from. Maybe we can get that lady that came with back to Brookridge and give us some ideas on what we could put around the sign. But we'll, if any extra donations are received, we'll use it for the landscaping, and the rest of it will go into Brookridge beautification. Thank you.
I just want to add a little bit to that. Don't forget that is a very small area there at the beginning of the community, at the red light. So when they do start construction, be cautious. There's not going to be much room for them to work, and that might create a little bit of traffic problem. I don't know, but just keep an eye open for that and be careful. That's it for that. I'm sorry Mr. Fagan wasn't here. Was he ever contacted, Ray? Okay, is Arlene going to be our new recording secretary?
I'll let you know.
Okay. That's all. I'm just sorry Mr. Fagan couldn't make it, but Mr. Fagan's going to be number 8 of our committee. We're only allowed 7, but I have one person who is seasonal, and she's gone right now. So he'll basically be an alternate. Or hopefully we'll have a checklist that whoever can make it for the next meeting, that they can look into their appointment schedule, so we can contact Mr. Fagan and get him in there. That's all I have.
I'm bringing up the dreaded budget. There's going to be a notice in the June News and Views about putting together of a finance committee. I've reserved the conference room starting June 26th, I believe. It's a Friday afternoon. It'll be from 1 to 3 in the conference room. I'm looking for 5 people who would like to serve in my finance committee. If you'd like to, submit a resume to the front office, and I'll look them over, and I will contact you as soon as I can. It's very important. This new budget coming up, we really, really, really have to take a long, hard look, because as many of you know, we are operating on the budget of 3 years ago. And costs of things go up. We have monies to pay out. If we want to keep the services to this community, we're going to really have to take a long, hard look in the budget, because right now there is no place